Yo, what's going on, everyone? It's Brian and Jim here with Drink a Beer and Play a Game, and welcome to another episode of the Power Hour Podcast.
Yes, hello everyone. Welcome to episode 306. Thank you for joining us tonight. Speaking of joining us, big shout out and thank you to Ray, Randy, and Cody of the Rich Dickman Show for hanging out with us last week. It was a damn good time. Make sure to head on over to their page, give them some support as they wind down their podcast. Let's do some number boosting for them. They actually had a little discussion about their appearance with us the next day. Poor Randy got a little beat up, but they were saying they had a good time. And look, I love Randy. He's a great guy. I am not one to ever throw shade at someone for getting a little too messed up during a recording process. If you ever want to listen to Jimmy in his prime, go listen to our first appearance on the Thought Cops because I had like 7 Mad Elves that night. What a disaster of a podcast that was. Still never listened back to that one out of sheer embarrassment. So,
Listen,
but you know what?
we all have our vices. We get way too drunk. Some people go way too high. It is what it is. It was a good time, but like Jim said, make sure go give the boys some love as they wind down. Give them a proper send off, and throw some support their way.
Yep, bunch of good eggs over there. But Brad,
Hell yeah.
what are you up to?
So tonight, I decided to go against the IPAs, Jim. I know last week I was all about them, but I think you've had these before, right? The Rita's beer from the
Yes, I
Chamonix
have.
Creek.
Yep.
Yeah, so this is their mango, which is a blonde ale with mango. Got them over the weekend, was doing gardening shit all weekend, so I was like, you know what? Let me get a good like summery beer, and gotta say, tastes pretty goddamn good. Mango is to me like one of the most underrated fruits. If it wasn't so annoying to cut it and set it up to eat it, I'd eat it all the time. So I always enjoy mango flavored things. And blonde ales, that's another kind of underappreciated. You don't really see them that often. So I like the combo. If I had one complaint, it gets surprisingly bitter. Like it starts off super sweet, but then like as it goes on, like by the bottom of the glass, gets a little bit bitter. But
Mm.
otherwise, I enjoy the shit out of it. So nice summer beer. If you're looking for something other than IPAs, if you're lucky enough to have them in Chamonix Creek, because I know they also have a watermelon sour and like a lemon something. So I know there's a couple flavors out
Yeah, it
there.
was like a lemon and shandy-ish kind of one. I
Mhm.
remember the lemon being disappointing. I think the mango was good. I think the watermelon was good. So yeah,
Yeah.
not a bad little brew over there.
Yeah. What about you, Chambers? What you drinking tonight?
Well, Bri, this I got gifted from my neighbor. We're all hanging out since a lot of us have off tomorrow, so the kids were playing around, and I'm drinking from the Round Guys Brewing out of Lansdale, PA. They're Gimme the Fruit Cherry Sour Ale. So there's no description on here, so nothing to say. But the can art's actually really cool. It's actually like looks like a bunch of like starving monks trying to carry water and supplies to like a mount with a big crown on top of it. So very interesting. 7.1% alcohol, or no, 7.2% alcohol, which is pretty decent for a sour. Most of them outside of like Victory Sour Monkey don't go above like 5 or 6. So you don't taste the bitterness at all. Uh, I mean, it tastes like a cherry sour ale. It's very good. So I enjoy it. Nice little fruity one for the summertime.
Dude, by the way, I've noticed that in beer stores, what used to be IPA aisles is slowly becoming sour aisles. Like the amount of sour beers it's insane. Like I think they've actually pushed out hazies. Like IPAs will never truly be defeated because there's so many varieties, but man, the shelves they are stocked. That is the you were on the forefront of that one. Your love of that. So now
Oh,
are you going to be like the classic, people who listen to certain music and then when they get too big, you're like, damn, now it's too poppy. I can't enjoy it anymore.
right. The world is my oyster right now. I'm just like, do you remember the old commercials for like Office Max around September-ish when they would do the most wonderful time of the year? And the moms and
Hmm.
dads are all happy because their kids are going back. They're just dancing in the aisles. That's me at a beer store, Bry.
So stop getting your shit off clearance and get some of the new stuff. I actually saw a variety pack of sours that like I actually really wanted to get, but this caught my eye first. So yeah, there's a lot out there, Jim, and I want
Right.
you
That's when
to.
you stop being a pussy and buy both.
I mean, I actually did buy a box style beer. as well. But considering what I need to do tomorrow, I was like, let me go with a lighter choice for tonight. So
Probably
yeah.
smart. Actually, funny speaking of that, because Box I typically don't consider to be more of a summer beer. So I was at we actually did a little drinking together over the weekend. I don't
Hmm.
remember the better part of the last half of the night, but that's nothing new for good old Jimmy. And but before we met up, I was at a different bar, and like they had a Grateful Dead cover band there, so it was packed. And as you were standing in line, you would just slowly see all the beers because they had a chalkboard for the menu just start to get erased. It's like, oh, let me try doing that. Erased. Like, so you're like, all right, let me try this one. Two people later, erased. I'm like, holy shit, what the hell? It's like 6:30 at night and they're already running out of beer. Bry, you know it didn't run out in the dead of summer or dead of spring? The oatmeal stout,
Naturally.
which is,
And I'm
sign of the
someone who
time.
loves me an oatmeal stout, but it was a nice balance. Well, was it that warm that day?
It
I know
wasn't
it
super
wasn't
warm.
cold. Yeah, but still, like to your point, spring, summertime, of course that's going to be the last thing there. And that particular brewery isn't very big, and I'm sure it was quite crowded.
Oh, very. Even the food truck, like as like they were down to like three beers left, the food truck closed up shop because they were out of food. Like it was insane the crowd that they had there.
Yeah, breweries don't run out of beer. You that's the one thing you can't do. You can fuck up food, you can fuck up a lot of other things. You can't fuck up beer. Just saying.
Yeah,
Don't do
like
that.
and it's not their first radio. They know this band brings out crowds. So it's like maybe stock a little extra that day. What, you have a little extra? All right, we'll save it for tomorrow. It doesn't matter. It's out of a keg anyway. Just do more.
Jim, why didn't you want to listen to a jam session in G minor for 10 hours?
I mean, I don't go out of my way to listen to the Dead, but if I'm a couple beers in, it's good background noises. You're hanging out. But once I would have stayed longer if there was actually any beer left. But once the beers were like running out, I was like, all right, everyone close your tabs. We're moving on.
Jim, is it safe to say, are you a bigger Dead fan or Fish boy?
I would probably rather listen to Fish than to Dead, but I'm not going out of my way to listen to either, unless like
I feel like they're basically cousins, just in two
basically,
different
yeah.
genres.
It's like,
But
like here, like the closest I get to like jam band is like when I see Primus live because like they'll turn a 5 minute song into a 10 minute song because they'll do like an extended solo. It'll be cool
yeah.
and it sounds good, but it's like I don't need albums of that.
Well, I mean, I feel like given Randy's state of affairs last week, he would have enjoyed that.
He was
I
in
feel
the
like that's the
perfect state for
mindset
that.
you have to be in. Yeah, you have to be in a very, I don't think drunk is ever. I think it's got to be high or psychedelics or something like that.
Hey,
Just
if
saying.
you want tangents, get you a couple beers and listen to some Dead. You'll get your tangents. It's perfect. Or some vapes, or some gummies, or whatever have you.
So Chambers, what since last week, what you been chugging along with gaming wise, other than StarCraft?
Yeah, other than StarCraft. Dude, I didn't really have dick for time for gaming. Like I started Prince of Persia, The Lost Crown. Everyone seemed to hype it up last year. It's a Metroidvania spin-off of the Prince of Persia series. I'm like an hour in, so like the first part of the game is like, a little side-scrolling action scene and then dialogue, and then side-scrolling action scene and then dialogue. I was like, just let me get to the fucking exploring. So I'm basically finally at that part, but I'm at like the very beginning. And I also started to put a little bit of time into X-Men 2 so we can finally start to get that review going because, the good old patrons have requested it. I'm not very far in it so far. Like that third level just kicks my ass like the second I get there. Or when you get to the it's the one in space when you're going against the Shi'ars and all that stuff. So, yeah, I gotta learn me these levels. There's a bitch about retro gaming where when you play these games and you get to a level that kicks your ass, you always have to play through the first levels again and again and again. And I don't have the patience I had when I was 8. So I just sit there just going, fuck, I don't want to do the Sentinel again. But you have to do the Sentinel. You want to get to the next part. So I'm in the throes of it. I'm doing it legitimately. But yeah, besides
Okay.
that and a tiny bit of StarCraft, that's basically been my gaming. What about you, Bry?
Yeah, so just like you, it's been phew, I had these like grand illusions of I'm gonna actually game this week. And then like every night at like 8 o'clock hits, and I'm just like, I have no energy. So when I say I've maybe spent an hour to an hour and a half gaming, it was just Dead by Daylight. I was more focused on making sure I got out Berserk Boy, which by the time you're listening to this, it came out today. So I wanted to make sure got that off my plate. Like I said, trying to figure out time with you. You can come over. We can at least bang out X-Men 1 and then some of the other ranking videos we want to do.
Yep.
But yeah, man, I'm like I said, I had the N64 all ready to go, but same deal. I'm like, ugh, like just 8 o'clock hits and I just feel like I don't want to do shit. But now that I'm off every Friday, I also feel like I'm gonna push myself to like listen, 10-hour days still come up, Jim. I still do the
Wah,
full 40.
wah.
Um, but I definitely like I'm either gonna split my time between focusing Thursday nights on going through resolution games or just getting back to streaming because I have some ideas for games I want to stream and I miss doing it. It's a fun thing to do. So either way, that's gonna try to be my focus, get me hooked back into gaming. But I think I've settled on the idea that I'm gonna do Ocarina of Time, maybe Senua's Hellblade at the same time. So like, mix up those two because that's a shorter game. I know Ocarina of Time is not a short game, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah. Luckily, it's not super long. Just for like 12-year-old me, it felt like the biggest game I ever played. But
Oh yeah, I think it's still like a solid 20 or 30-hour game, depending on how much you do.
yeah, probably.
But Chambers, speaking of Berserk Boy, we were able to get that out. So once again, thank you to our awesome patrons. Still have the X-Men games and we have Max Payne. But what questions do we have this week, Chambers?
Well, Brian, you can head on over to patreon.com/drinkABeerandPlayAGame, where for as little as $2 a month, you can ask a question that we will answer on each and every single one of these Power Hour podcasts. Also, a quick shout out to Star for signing up recently for the free tier. So, first up from Todd Howard Sucks. It's been a while, boys. It's been a while. Life got busy. What's your favorite seafood dish? If you couldn't drink beer or liquor, what would your choice of drink be?
Jim, I'm sorry, I had to laugh. When you just did that. Remember the other day, I was like, Jim, listen to Mud Shovel.
Yes. I was like,
I
you
didn't
text
say
me
it that
this out of
nice.
nowhere.
I know.
You're just out. You're just like Jim. Listen to Mud Shovel. I was like, the Stain song, and you're like, yeah.
Yeah. You're like,
And
what?
like, I was like,
You're
wait,
like,
what?
okay.
Like, yeah, good song. Yeah, I'll listen to that. And yeah, like basically, thanks to the singer in my band, like anytime someone says, "Yeah, it's been a while since we've done that," he just goes, "It's been a while." So like now it's
Mhm.
like a tick in my head that I have to do that. I pulled it out on the wife the other day, and she's like, "What the fuck was that? Was that
Yep.
Stained?" And I
Good
go,
old
"Why, yes,
stained.
yes, it was." But back to favorite seafood dish. Hmm, that's tough.
It's tough. I got
Hmm.
two. So one I would go with paella, which is like it's like a Spanish dish with all mixture. It's like shrimp, mussels, scallops, maybe clams, mixed with rice and some spices. Um,
Mexican
or
gumbo.
yeah, that's Spanish gumbo, but god damn it, Chip, it's not Mexican at all.
What?
um Smoked marlin tacos from Amada Cuba, which is no longer around, were the best smoked fish taco I ever had. Marlin is not something I think we regularly get up this way. So that used to be like definitely the go-to. I think those are probably my favorite. I'm not a big like I've eaten plenty of fish, but I'm never you'll never see me like order just a plate of like whatever, any type of just straight fish. It usually need to be in a taco or mixed in with something for me to be really all about it. But yeah, what about you, Chambers?
My gut reaction was to go with just like a big honking, like just bowl of mussels. Like have it in there with the red sauce. Give me some dippy bread on the side, and I can hoon down like big fucking portions of that. But when you bring up fish taco, it's like I think the fish taco is almost underrated in general.
It
And
is.
it's even better when it's like, not a fried fish, like when you just have that pure, like just fish meat in there, whether it's shredded or they put it in lumps. Like it's just like you get put a little pico de gallo on top or a little slaw, and it's just so like light and refreshing, but it's still like a
Hmm.
good meal that like fills you up, but you're not dead after either. So it's like, yeah, I do love me a damn good fish taco. I get those way more than I ever expected to.
I mean, I think if there was an alternate universe of Jim and Brian that lived on California, that would be our go-to. Like that, I feel like that's where you would get it the most. I feel like being East Coast, we can get it, but it's not the same as West Coast. And
Oh
yeah,
boy, grouper.
yeah.
Yay,
My wife
striper.
makes banging shrimp tacos and goes through the process of making the legit like slaw soaked in tequila and spices, and then the adobo, smoked adobo like cream that goes on top, like all the little accoutrement, if you will, that goes. Like the shrimp is just like almost secondary to all the other shit that goes into it. But yeah, that's a damn good call. I like how neither of us chose the shit that our wives would, which is like the crab boils and all the shit. Like I'm fine cooking it, but crab is so overrated for that shit and all those like seafood boil things. They're fine.
Yeah, it's
I don't
just
feel
a
like
lot of
working
work.
20 minutes to get half an ounce of meat. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Give me
just so
ribs.
much
Just
work.
give
It's
me
so
give me
like
something else.
it's like a fuckload of potato. It's like, yeah, they're good. They soak it up. It's like, it's just like a boiled potato in there. Po' boys, I find for the most part extremely overrated and overpriced. Same with lobster rolls. But I will say, when I was in Louisiana, we went to this like hole in the wall fucking po' boy shack. And my God, this was like one of the best sandwiches I ever had. It was a lobster po' boy. It was gigantic. It was like $30 and it was worth every goddamn penny. Oh my God, I would kill to have that sandwich again.
Yeah, and the same deal when we were in Maine getting legit lobster rolls in Maine. You're still spending an ungodly amount of money, and really, you're just eating lobster soaked in all the butter in the world.
Right.
There was a difference. There was a noticeable difference. So, yeah, seafood is still probably my third or fourth tier protein, but there are some great ones out there. So I like that
Yep.
question. Good
And to
one.
follow up about the drink, look, I mean, I know I'm probably supposed to say like a white wine or some kind of red wine, but if I'm not drinking beer, I'm drinking either water or Diet Coke. Like, I'm too addicted to Diet Coke. So I like the bubblies. I like the taste. It's my go-to. I don't care if it doesn't supposed to mix with nothing.
Are you saying strictly the with seafood?
Saying if you couldn't drink beer or liquor, what would your choice of drink be?
Oh, yeah. If I'm not drinking those, it's water, coffee. Um, that's pretty. I do like a diet wild cherry Pepsi. Like if I'm doing a soda, that's generally it. Unless I'm having pretzels, then I have a rule of like I need legit Pepsi for that for some reason.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, water's really all I need if I'm not drinking alcohol. So boring
Well,
old man shit.
yeah, right. That's what I should be doing more. Next up from Burn Retinas, more of a durability question. Which game system or systems have you found yourself replacing controllers the most? And what has lasted the longest? Handhelds can apply.
See, it's a tough one for me to answer this because replacing the most, unfortunately, is probably my Xbox, but that's because my son. Um, and I mostly have shitty third party controllers and they just don't, and it's not even that they don't last. I always get the wired ones, because I don't feel like paying for the wireless and they're more expensive, and the wire always ends up fraying and it like gets fucked up. So it's not the controller itself goes bad, but that's definitely the system I bought the most. Um, but I'm trying to think like throughout the history of, I mean, yeah, that's probably the one that I gotta stick with, my Xbox, but it's biased because that's the most used. So
Yeah, I have to do, I guess, a little asterisk with mine because the most controllers I bought in my life was for the Sega Genesis, and the reason for that is because that was my system growing up. Jimmy would get angry, and the Sega was on the in the basement where we had tile floor. So the controller would go flying, and oops, broke another one. So much like your son Brian, I grew up with a lot of third-party controllers. Whether you bought them at like odd jobs or big lots, or just like you go to Kmart and get the high frequency brands, which I think eventually became Mad Cats, and then eventually Mad Cats. So yeah, I went through me a ton of third-party controllers. And if you think the regular Genesis 3 button controller is big, you get your hands on a third party one. Oh my fucking god. That's why I played N64 like this, like a normal controller, because I was just used to it.
but yeah, so was the second part of it the most durable or just the ones that were least durable?
Yeah, good question. Good. The second part was, and what has lasted the longest? Handhelds can apply.
Lasted the longest.
Actually, what do you call it? Like a lot of people complain about N64 controllers until my dog ripped it out of my hand and it fucking shattered on the floor. My green favorite N64 controller like lasted 25 years. Like I know people say the sticks always get loose and shit like that, but I guess as long as you're not beating the fuck out of them with Mario Party, they hold up. I never had a problem with them.
Yeah, I feel like that, like, because I still have my NES controllers and they're okay. They're not, I wouldn't say they're amazing, but they hold. So just for sheer length of time, that might do it. But also, dude, I gotta say, all my PlayStation 2 controllers and even my third party PlayStation 2 controllers, those things still, I think, just as responsive, um, I, which is pretty damn impressive. So, yeah, I'll go with one of those as mine. Unfortunately, all the other systems I had as a kid, I got rid of. So, didn't get to keep them and find out if my Genesis or Super NES would still be good today. But yeah.
Yeah, I mean, my Genesis controllers are good. I find the NES holds up better than the Super NES controllers. The Super NES gets a little mushy, but
Mhm.
yeah. I mean, yeah, the DualShock. Like I'm starting to get that weird like film of rubber starting to decay after 20 years on the sticks. So
Mhm.
that's happening with a lot of controllers, unfortunately. But as far as the buttons go, they still feel great. So yeah, I gotta go with that too.
It'll be interesting. Well, Switch controllers don't last very long.
Oh, I've
But
already replaced a few of them.
it'll be interesting. Like, I never played enough GameCube to know, like, do those controllers hold up?
I'm pretty sure they do. Like, I even have ones that are like kind of beat up. Like, I bought them used in like from like a garage sale or like an auction or shit like that. And like the stick will be a little chewed up or like, you can tell it's been banged around, but it still works fine. Even the
Hmm.
Wavebirds do, as long as the bitch is getting the adapter and putting it on the right frequency. But outside of that,
Yeah. No, I like that question though. Don't worry, Jim. At some point, we won't have controllers. It'll all be in your
yep, that's right. They won't put any kind of messaging in my brain at all. Everything will be fine. But speaking of fine, thank you to the fine people at our Patreon for all the support. Once again, if you are new to the page, go on over to Patreon. $1 tier gets you bonus content. $2 tiers gets you questions. $5 gets you game review requests. $10 gets you movie review requests, and also $5 and $10 tiers get you bonus episodes. Listening on iTunes, Spotify, Podbean, or Apple. Head on over to all the other ones. Leave some comments, leave some reviews, leave some subs. Anything you can do can help the page. Speaking of helping the page, why don't you help yourself? If you're a collector for the NES or the Super NES, go to our buddy Longy Long's website, ghettogamer.net. Use the code DBPG and you can get yourself a nice little discount off your order. Also, if you want to go and get yourself a new little hobby, learn a skill, something like that, head on over to Skillshare. Use our code DBPG30 to get 30% off 1 year of a class. So, Ghetto Gamer, get 20% off with our code DBPG of your order, and Skillshare DBPG30. So, thanks again, everybody, for all the support.
Yeah, appreciate it. Make sure you check out those links. And as we've talked about, especially with Ghetto Gamer, there's a lot. If you're looking to start getting a collection, not a bad place to start, especially as opposed to most mom and pop shops because they're a little overpriced. Whereas this one is not. So I'm just
Yeah,
gonna say it.
yeah, you go to the mom and pop shops, the games you want to get, all the classics, they're all going to be $20 over eBay. GhettoGamer.net,
Mhm.
you're paying a fair price.
Yeah. So help support our friends and thank you guys once again for supporting us.
All right, Bri. So, jumping into the topics, and we are going to, of course, go to one of our favorite topics, limited run games. And this is going to be actually a bit of a follow up. So, we talked about it a couple weeks ago when Doug Bogart, the former co founder, had put out this, his little private blog post that he eventually took down, calling out Josh and the other company and like everyone at the company and just like the toxic work environment that was made from it. So, he recently had a little bit of a confessional, you could say, on X, the Everything app. He has a private account, so if you don't have access to his account, I'll read it to you right now. I hate that I feel like we had a hand in destroying physical media instead of trying to save it. Hear me out. We started with indies. That's good. But then we started actively fighting people like Konami's own sales team to do physical games. We literally outbid a company on their own company's team. Same with Sega. You have companies who can do this themselves now going for a safer option that is more limited and harder to get when it should have been widely available. Now you have more and more companies doing either digital only or going with some limited company. We help preserve some stuff, sure, but ultimately we help push an industry into a direction we were supposedly fighting all for money. I feel companies like Fangamer and IM8bit get it. They stay true to doing more indie releases and then they actively try to keep things available. A lot of others try to do what we did with the large partners and now it's a mess. Sorry for the rant, I'm just annoyed with the current state of the game industry. I feel like the 360 PS3 era were the last real golden age before everything became digital focused and limited. At least back then, it was a solid mix. So apparently he's been getting pushback on this, and I guess he's been fighting with like Josh and Josh's wife and maybe other people limited run games. Because even earlier today, he had a tweet going, "Looking forward to May 30th." I don't think this person realizes just how much more stuff I have at this point to show. They have become so wrapped in their own delusional mind that they don't realize others have started to turn against them too. About to start posting receipts. I don't think they realize their behavior is ultimately going to hurt someone else once it is exposed. Irony is that they have directed their anger at me when they are actually wrong about why. I just wanted peace and to be left alone. Not going to allow them to threaten me anymore. So you have to assume May 30th is some kind of NDA or something like that. Non compete
Mhm.
NDA clause that's about to run out. And I do believe it's been about a year since he left limited runs. So, Brian, 11 days, things could get very spicy.
Yeah, that rant he went on felt like a very I'm drunk and I'm just letting it out. Like this is weighing on him. It could be argued he's taking too much responsibility. He's almost like trying to be like Oppenheimer. He like he's like I have become death. Like no, dude, you didn't ruin physical media. I get you had a hand in a company that yes, like there was some shitty shit, but like I think the physical media unfortunately was going to go away whether we liked it or not. The interesting thing I didn't realize the whole part of they were outbidding companies for their own releases. And if that really did help influence, because that's the thing that drives me crazy is like anytime I hear of a new game, like a new game, not from limited run, from like a AAA company that's like, oh yeah, there's a limited release. I'm like, the fuck you mean there's a limited? Like that's the stupidest shit. But that's the other thing, right? You need to build FOMO somehow. You need to make it sound like you might not ever get this. So if they had a strong hand in that, kind of sucks. But yeah, that was weird. It was a weird kind of confessional. And outside of, I don't know what else he could really say other than the damning thing was you were outbidding companies for their own thing. Like, I'm sure there could be worse, but I don't know. That's pretty big. So, interesting. I mean, the guy is trying to, he's not even making amends. I don't know. He's just being confessional. But I'm
Yeah,
like, yeah.
it's like you said, it was like trauma dumpy. Maybe he was drinking or doing something or other that night. He's also a very emotional guy, so maybe he was just in like a little bit of a manic state. But yeah, I mean, we talked about it for ages. We're like, how the hell does like why is Konami and Sega cheaping out and going with limited run? Well, because they guess gave them an offer that they couldn't refuse. Where it's like, oh yeah, it is way cheaper to use you guys. So I mean, we're hearing it from the horse's mouth. It's not like speculation. So now we know how this happened. And now we know why some old companies we love go the cheap route and use a shitty company when they publish things. It sucks, but, companies are out to make every dollar they can. So I guess that's one way of doing it.
Is it a little surprising? Not that those companies were in the greatest standing. I didn't think Limited Run had capital like that, especially back in the day. That's the more surprising part to me. I'm like, the fuck kind of offers were they giving them to outbid their own company to publish it?
You know what? I'm going to assume that these hard pushes were probably loss leaders. Not that they lost money on it, but even Doug's earlier rant a couple months ago kind of confirmed a lot of speculation people had, where it's like they basically fund every new release with the money they make from the pre-orders of the previous one before they even have anything to, put out in the world. So they'll take your money, put that to try and fund something else while still keeping some profit and still eventually putting the games out there. So, maybe they had a really good month or two and went, "Oh shit, we can make a big splash if we got like I remember when Limited Run got Streets of Rage 4. And I was like I didn't hate Limited Run back then, but it was still like why is Limited Run doing this? Why isn't Sega just doing it themselves? Or once Konami started giving them a couple like Contra games. So,
Hmm.
yeah, it was like, that's weird. Wonder how this happened. Now we know. So
Now
I'm
we know.
sure like all their goodwill and capital went towards into that, and it worked out. I mean, they're the brand name. They're the iPhone of the whole limited game release industry. So for better or for worse, their tactics worked. Just they're a little bit on the more infamous side, and I don't think they're going to be changing that anytime soon. So come on, Doug,
Here's a
more drama.
question. Do you think there's any successful company that doesn't probably have some shady shit about how they got there?
No, God, no, no, you have to be
Yeah.
shady.
Well, that's what I mean. Like I feel like, yeah, if you have rose tinted glasses about any of your companies, if they make it big, yeah, you should probably recognize not everything was, was above, above bar on that shit. So,
Look, I love my iPhone, but do I feel bad about the suicide nets? Yeah, kind of. But my God, the iOS just works so well. So who am I, Bri? If anything, I'm the victim here.
we went from a generation, it's like, oh man, I can get a free phone, to I need to pay 2,000 bucks for my phone because I
It's
just need the latest one that has no real discernible upgrades, but I need it.
Bri. Some could say society peaked with the Motorola Razor and the changeable faceplates. It's all downhill since.
And we used to pay for ringtones, and now we don't answer our phone when it rings. We just want to be texted.
Yep, that is 100% correct. I haven't had my phone on loud, and outside of like
Yeah.
really needing to be aware of a call, outside of that, it is on silent all the time.
What's amazing is our generation, especially, I feel like if you see somebody out in public and their phone goes off and they're like our generation, they feel extra like, oh my God. When back in the day, that would be the norm. You'd be like, yeah, my phone's ringing. Like, you'd almost show it off because you bought some fucking stupid thing.
Right. I mean, you remember at the old college apartment, the battle between me and Mole with his Usher's Yeah and my X-Men theme song. And who's going to out annoy the other person that day as their phone just keeps going off while the other one's out doing something else.
Of course. Yeah. I mean, simpler times, Jim. Simpler times.
Right. Back in the day when I would have my phone just ringing because I wouldn't take it to the bathroom with me because I didn't have any games on it. There's no internet on it. So why would I take it with me? Why would I want to be disturbed on the toilet?
And then nowadays, you can have arguably the most popular game possible on your phone, or at least it's trying to come back, Jim.
Ooh, Hey,
You
Bri,
see what
why
I
don't you
did
lead us
there?
into this one, Bri?
So we talked a long time ago when Fortnite was removed from Apple phones. Basically, the whole how they were pay charging people wasn't jiving with Apple, and they got pulled. I forget how long ago. What was that?
It was like around back in 2020 because
Yeah,
yeah, basically Fortnite, Fortnite's known for their in-game microtransactions, and Apple's like, no, you have to do it through us. And Fortnite said, fuck you, and basically took themselves off the iOS store.
yeah. So they're trying to get back on, and there's actually been a lot of updates, Jim, even since we've had this topic up, um, where it looked like they were in the green light to come back on because of some terms of service and some things that changed with Apple Store. Well, they initially got rejected, and even as of today, Epic is appealing this decision. So it is constantly still a battle. It's not a slam dunk that they're going to come back. It looked like they were going to, and they still got denied by Apple for some of this shit. Now, Apple's suggestion was like, just make a new version of the game for the US that cuts out some of the shit we're saying, or comply, basically. And Epic is
I
still being Epic.
I thought Epic won their lawsuit, and that's why they were going back on.
Well, they didn't. Um, my understanding from I have a different article, but let me see what it says. So They're still trying to do from Tim Sweeney from Epic Games, their founder says, we're still going to do everything we can to bring Fortnite back to iOS. That everything now includes a legal motion, which they put a legal motion, but apparently the judge shot it down. And like I said, literally as of today, they are appealing that decision.
Mm.
So it's not quite back yet. It says in a motion filed on Friday, arguing that Apple's latest Fortnite denial is a blatant retaliation for Epic's court challenge and an attempt to circumvent this court's injunctions and this court's authority. So, yeah, apparently, although Apple's contracts may permit it to reject an app for lawful reasons, the injunction provides that Apple may no longer reject an app, including Fortnite, because its developer chooses to include an external purchase link. So Apple can still deny you, but not for that reason anymore.
Oh, all right.
Kind of weird. Um,
So it's like a half settle
yeah. So
ish.
it's not quite back yet, but it seems like they'll probably be back in one way or another, and there'll probably be in-game purchase transactions as well. So I don't know. Once again, Epic's doing just fine not being on it. I think they'll make a lot more money coming back to it, but yeah, I don't know. Like, if you're Epic, do you just say, "Fine, Apple, we'll give you like a percentage of the profits," and just shut them up that way?
I mean, you
I
would
don't I
think.
don't know what's the smartest move here. Like Epic's not hurting and they don't need to be on there. iPhone doesn't need Epic. Neither of them need each other. So it's like if you're gonna sweeten the pot, Epic, it's like, dude, you're already making boat tons. If you're just strictly from your Apple sales or like your in-game purchases, be like, fine, we'll give you a 5-10%. Whatever. I don't know.
You know what? Fuck it. Like you said, neither of them need each other, so let them keep battling it out. I actually want to see who winds up winning. It could be 10 years of fucking uh trials and appeals and all this other kind of stuff and countersuits and crap like that, but
Hmm.
I don't know. This is one where it's like the implication of what comes out to it because I'll say this. I think we said it before back when the whole lawsuit first dropped. I still say Apple is the bad guy here. Like they're strong arming all the companies and going through their service and paying Apple's like 30%, percentage tax on everything. Insane numbers. So now it's not like a battle of good versus evil. It's a battle of like, shitty versus more shitty. And Fortnite's still the biggest game in the world. So they don't need Apple. They're doing just fine. So if they want
Yeah.
to keep fighting, fuck it, fight it out. I want to see the bloodbath. It's a monkey knife fight,
Yeah.
Bri. I'm just here to see
No, but
Curious George not be pretty anymore.
damn it. I agree with you though. I think the precedent it sets, I worry more about other smaller developers. So yeah, you should be allowed to have your own micro purchases or, transactions in your game. But Apple's also, as you just said it earlier, Apple's Apple for a reason, and iPhone's it for a reason. Like limited run is the head of their thing. So I
Definitely.
don't know. I
And
mean,
actually,
brands
Brian,
become so big. Go on.
I was going to say, now that we're talking about precedents and lawsuits, I'm making an executive decision. We're jumping ahead a little bit, Bri, in the old topic
Go
listing
on.
because
Okay.
there's another topic in lawsuit that we've been following since the start. Good old Alyssa McConte versus Smash JT. So, I mean, they just don't stop going back and forth on Twitter. It's it's exhausting at this point. But Alyssa finally she's made a shitload of posts. She's obviously filed her lawsuit, and she's been on podcasts and live streams talking about it. But she finally made like an actual YouTube video. So the original version got struck down for bullying for some reason. Even though like she's not really bullying anyone else. She's just reading all the shit that's been sent to her. But yeah, it's a 9-minute video called Hating Me Gets Them Views. Here's my story. And basically, she goes through, a bunch of really, honestly, a bunch of really awful DMs that get sent to her way, emails that get sent to her through anonymous email services that, just slur after slur, kill yourself, all this kind of stuff. And of course, the last half of it's her talking about Smash JT. So, I mean, it's an interesting thing. It's kind of weird. It took so long for her to get to this point. I don't think it really. like, let's be honest here. At this point in this lawsuit, no one's going to change anyone's mind on anything. Like, if you've been following it at all, you're either Team Melissa or Team Smash. And there's a big contingent that's fuck them both. They're both terrible. I hate them. And you know what? If you want to think that, fine, because neither is without fault, in one way or another. At this point, like for a little while, it's like, yeah, maybe it is going a little too far with how much shit she gets thrown at her, but like, she does attack everyone at all times, and all the doxing she's done has been a really, really bad look. So it's like, I mean, she directly put his name, his address out there. She's dropped, a while back, she dropped the names of people in that right wing sphere. And it's all people I don't like, but it's like, if you're putting their name and where they live out there, it is a form of doxing because of the intent there. So it's like,
Yeah.
it's a shitty move too. Not like they have been shitty to her either, but I get it. So there's not really a lot of high roads being taken here. So, but when it gets back to the lawsuit, it's like the implication though, because this could set a precedent, much like, H3's lawsuit back in 2016 with that random workout guy or something or other who was suing him for defamation for, commentating on him and making videos on him. It's like, H3 won that. The commentary community has thrived since then. Like, there's people who make careers basically talking about maybe one subject again and again and again, and just talking about what they did during the course of the day. So Alyssa's calling it harassment. I mean, she's definitely been harassed because of these videos, but I don't know. It's a gray area. I'm a fan of a lot of drama content, so I enjoy it. It's fun popcorn watching, and it's like, I don't want to see the people I like watching talking about other internet people. Like, I'm not invested either way. It's just fun to hear the shit slinging. And it's
Hmm.
like, you know, if there's one thing I can say that this video put in her favor about Smash is, unless you had the direct link and you just went into YouTube and typed in Alyssa Mercante video, you're not finding her video first. You are being flooded. Now, again, it could be my algorithm too from following people on and off throughout the years, but like, it was like 2 dozen Smash JT videos and then maybe like a couple like Yellow Flash or 8-Bit Erics and shit like that before you would ever even remotely get to her video. So, it's like, it's a big thing that can set a precedent. And as we saw with like Stone Brewing and Keystone, if you get a judge who is not deeply entrenched in your niche, it can be very easy for someone to see, dude, you've made like 200 videos on this girl. Like, yes, you're harassing her. Stop. Like, is it the right call in the internet culture? Maybe not, but you get into a court of law and you get a normal person as a judge. It could be a very, very bad look.
Well, and that's a good point. So, like, her video, if you saw it in isolation, she did a good job of like driving the point home. You said
Oh, yeah.
some heinous shit was said to her. The amount of compilation of all these YouTubers and Twitch people like talking about her. Um, like any good story, there's another side to that, right? Like, she herself has made lots of content and said many things against a lot of people. So it's it's good. She did what she needed to do, right? To tell her side of it and to say, I'm being harassed. And I said it before. I'm not okay with the harassment is where it goes too far. I'm fine. Like, you can fully disagree with her. You can be like, hey, whatever she did on Kotaku or whatever, I don't like this person. I don't like what they're saying, and that's fine. But like the harassment, the when they made a fake like website and start emailing her sister, I'm like, okay, once again, you don't start fucking with people's families just because you fundamentally disagree with them, right? Like, that's where it goes too far. So, like you said, she's not a
And
victim
unfortunately,
fully.
before anyone jumps down her throat, yes, I know she reached out to Smash JT's wife early on and said, "Look at
Yeah.
what your husband's doing online." So it's like,
Well, no,
again,
that's
no
going to be
one's
my point is, uh, as someone very guilty of, I can do back and forth with you, but if you take one step over a certain line, I'm going to go way too far the other line.
yeah.
So I also, like, there is a certain line where everyone understands, like, okay, don't go over this. Keep it to just, you want to attack me, attack me. If you bring my wife, my family, my what, yeah, then I'm gonna go all out. And to your point, a judge who's gonna look at this, that's the weird thing, right? Like, so Alyssa will have a lot of tweets, she'll have appearances on stuff, but Smash JT has hundreds of videos. So a normal judge will be like, this is odd. There's nothing illegal about it, but it's like, yeah, they're not going to be in the internet culture and be like, well, he only did this because of this. It's like, no, 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 no. Like, you don't know how that's going to play out. Um, yeah, it was an interesting take. And if you even read the comments on her video,
Oh boy.
I feel like, does she have a fan base that kind of defends her?
Oh
Because
yeah, she
I'll
does.
be well, no, I'm saying it just because every single time I've seen her post a video or a tweet, you need to scroll very, very far down before you see someone not basically talking shit on her. So I will say it's heavy handed, right? Like the side that dislikes her is way higher up than the side that likes her. And that may be for good reason. I'm not even trying to speculate on that. I'm just saying it's very true because a lot of the times I've seen her tweet and she'll turn off tweets unless you follow her, but then sometimes turn it back on. And then I'm like, oh, I get why she turns them off.
Oh
Like,
yeah. And it's like, yeah, I mean, when it comes to the thing, like, there's such an angry hate mob out there, like, specifically at her. Like, she's the face of everything Gamergate hates. And there is a lot of lonely, just people who never get off the computer. That's their life. And the integrity of their games, blah, all that bullshit. You know, like, they hate everyone. They hate women. They hate LGBT, and she's the face of it. So, she gets all the ire. She's the one who wanted to swim with the sharks, unfortunately. So, she's the one dealing with all the bull crap, unfortunately. Um, you know what? It was funny when the video first went up before it got taken down the first time. The top comment that was like the most liked was, "Girl, why do you have the comments on?" And like my theory is it's pretty obvious. The
to
comment
show.
section helps her case. Like
Yes.
all the hate that's being thrown at her, like, here's my video talking about all the hate I get. Boom, more hate. Horror, kill yourself, blah blah blah. Worse, slur. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, you're just making her case stronger. So if you think you're helping your cause, you are not.
And Jim, we've seen, and of course, like anything, they're clickbaited, they're take out of context. But we've seen clips of her and things she said and how she presents herself. And she doesn't make it easy to root for her. I'll say
Right,
that. And there's people out there, you can be against the system, you can be against certain things, but you can also do it in a way where you're making yourself, obviously, if you have a fuck you, I'll take on all comers attitude, then you need to take on all comers. And you have to realize you've just put a target on your back. Like everyone loves seeing Conor McGregor lose because he talked all that shit. If he was a humble whatever fighter, no one would care if he lost. No one would give a shit. But when Nate Diaz beat him, everyone was happy to point to it because he talks shit. Like if you're a shit talker, you bring it on yourself that they want to see you fall. So it's like I don't know. I'm not saying that justifies the level. I'm just
no,
saying that's why you have a bigger target on your head. Like there are plenty of gaming journalists who I'm sure fly super low under the radar that if they were brought to the spotlight, people might be pissed off by them, but they don't make themselves known.
right.
So,
And
yeah.
I mean, like, what is doing all this really done for Alyssa? Like, she's out of the game journalism industry. She's harassed every goddamn day online. Like, it hasn't been really working out well for her. So, it's almost like at the end of the day, was it kind of worth it? Like, I mean, if you have your morals and you're standing by them, then yes, of course, that's fine. But, that's unfortunately the risk you take when you jump into this shit with online people. And yeah, I mean, I'm with you. It's like, look, we've been very critical of game journalists in the past because it's easy to be critical of them. Some of them take themselves way too seriously and they, write their think pieces and shit like that, and you go, well, that's fucking stupid. But it's, not a reason to go after them personally and crap like that.
No.
But
You just
when
say
you make it,
this, hey, this is dumb. I don't like this. That's it.
yeah, exactly. So there is a small update as of a couple hours ago. Smash wrote, update. We have been denied a pre-motion conference, which might sound bad, but it's actually good. The judge sees no need to talk us out of filing. Both sides now must agree on a briefing schedule by May 27th. Too long didn't read. We have been given the green light to file the motion to dismiss. So if that's what it means. That's what it means. It'll be interesting to see.
Yeah, and like you just said, for either of them, we've talked about Smash has caught some shit for the legal fees he's accrued and how he's funding those. I don't know how Alyssa's funding all this, but it's like, dude, for both your sakes, wouldn't it just be better to both walk away and keep just making content that generates you funds and not sue each other? Like, you're actively losing money doing this shit.
I
And
I think that's what
I
Smash
don't
would
know.
love to have happen. I think Alyssa, because like she's made what like 3 videos on her YouTube channel and a couple streams. Like I mean, but she's going for the jugular. So and at this point, if she did settle like that, like well, how would that make her look? She almost has to go through with it at this point.
Well, and that's true. And she's the one going for damages anyway. So that's
Yeah.
her payday at this. Whereas, yeah. So it's more reason. Everyone enjoys good drama. Even I can get sucked into these type of rabbit holes, but man, oh man, it just drives the point home of I could never do that. Like I could never just sit there and be talking drama day in day out. I don't know.
It's got to be
That's a
so
rabbit
exhausting.
hole.
Yeah.
I can't imagine waking up and you're like, oh, get my coffee, do my morning piss. All right, let's start watching some videos and seeing how much I can hate on this. Like that's how your
Yeah,
day
right.
starts. I don't get
Ah,
it.
taking my morning shit going. How am I going to call iDubbbz a cuck today?
Damn it, I don't know who that is, but god damn it. I don't want to know. Damn it, Jim.
Right, you have a new rabbit hole. Get ready for 10 years of lore.
You scarred me enough with lores and internet shit.
Lore for the lore god, blood for the blood god, bro. I do it.
Hate you,
Not as much as
Jim.
I hate myself. But if there's one thing I do hate, Brian, it's a little bit of hypocrisy. So, this next one comes to us from Master of TDS. He's like actually friends with Smash. He's another one of the gamer gator grifter types out there. And he goes, breaking. PAX East takes a shot at Twitter/X. In the official PAX Nav app, Blue Sky is listed like any other platform. But Twitter, it's labeled Twitter's remains. Click it and you're sent to an image of a dumpster fire. And when you go to the comments on this, like, Smash going, wow, all the other people are going, oh, but considering X was a tool used to save gaming, shit like that, PAX is still a thing. I think there was a lot more before. I don't know if some comments got taken down, but there's some quote tweets. Like, it didn't blow up, but it was enough that I was going, wait a second, Bry. Should we go back once again in the Wayback Machine to COVID times, much like the Apple lawsuit? Because I remember another convention called MagFest. And I
Mhm.
remember when they had a little snafu online, when they put up a sign that said Kotaku's journalistic integrity, and a certain side of the internet went, oh, it's fucking awesome. It's fucking based. I'm pretty sure that's the side that's getting pissy about this little Twitter thing because it's Elon and Elon's on their side. Call me crazy, Brian. I think I'm seeing a little bit of hypocrisy over here.
It is, but you know what my bigger problem with this, Jim? The people that run these PAX Magfest, stop trying to be fucking cute and clever because you're not, and your jokes, all you're gonna do is alienate your whether people like it or not in gaming in any part of life. For the most part, unless it's something very partisan, you're going to be very 50-50 with your crowd. You're going to piss off half the crowd or you're going to make half the crowd love you. In this case, the ones going against Twitter, it's probably the people that lean right that are the ones getting the most pissed off. People on the left are like, yeah. Just like you said with MagFest, it was the inverse. Don't bring stupid shit like that. If you're a tiny, tiny little thing and that's your indie niche market and you know that's your fan base, make the jokes you want. But to be PAX East, to be fucking MagFest, these giant things, that's not the place to do it. Like, maybe if you're like someone who's running an individual panel and you have something in your like slideshow or some shit and you want to do it, fine. but as official like part of it, come on, man. Just knock that shit off. Look, just be fucking professionals. Not saying you have to like it, but don't act like your shit isn't primarily gonna be shit. No one's using fucking Facebook. Don't act like your shit's not being shared on Twitter. Like, stop trying to be clever. It's not the place for it. That's my only argument with it. But yeah, it is hypocrisy to get butthurt over that. Like, do you think Elon needs you defending him in any capacity? Like, do you think he's grateful you're defending him? Come on, man. Just also don't be that guy to defend it that hard. It's a stupid joke, but yeah, people piss me off, Jim.
Yep, and it's obviously like it kind of blew over. Like no one seemed to really care that much, but I saw that and I was like, wait a second, wait, you son. But yeah, I mean to wrap it all up, yeah, I'm with you. It's like conventions. Just can you not?
Just come on, man. Like I said, I'm have your ideologies, but you can't be that big of a thing and have that shit. I'm sorry. You should be very generic. I don't care what you say behind closed doors. You share an image. Don't do that shit out loud. Come on.
Yeah. And I mean, I forget what we said all the way back then. Maybe I was like, yeah, it's funny though. Fuck it. Why are you making such a big deal out of it? And it's a thing I'd probably say again, maybe. But at this point, I'm also exhausted from the culture war. So I'm just like, yeah, can we just stop?
Let's
Like, we
just
have enough
stop.
shit we have to see.
I'm tired of the I'm pretty much getting over the snarky humor now. I'm like, everyone's sarcastic, everyone has their little we get it. You're trying to be clever. You thought too hard about it. Move on. Like I'm over that shit. Come on. Go back to farts. Farts are funny. Everyone can agree a fart is funny.
It was so pure.
Yeah. Is it more pure than Bungie?
Speaking of losing your way, good old Bungie. Brian, they have made the news with their own little snafu. So,
Mm-hmm.
this was shared both on Twitter and Blue Sky by this N Squared, not our buddy Nick podcast. Go check out the N Squared podcast. But N Squared at antire.ai, I guess, saying the Marathon Alpha released recently and its environments are covered with assets lifted from poster designs I made in 2017. Bungie is, of course, not obligated to hire me when making a game that draws overwhelmingly from the same design language that I've refined for the last decade. But clearly, my work was good enough to pillage for ideas and plaster all over their game without pay or attribution. I don't have the resources nor the energy to spare to pursue this legally, but I've lost count of the number of times a major company has deemed it easier to pay a designer to imitate or steal my work than to write me an email. In 10 years, I've never made a consistent income from this work, and I am tired of designers from huge companies moonboarding and parasiting my designs while I struggle to make a living. And yeah, then it's just a bunch of people basically, giving their condolences. And I mean, it's pretty blatant with the examples this guy's putting on the screen. Like it's like his logo, his signs. Sometimes they might flip something upside down, but it's a very similar font, very similar look. And yeah, Marathon did eventually respond a couple days later saying, we immediately investigated a concern regarding unauthorized use of artist decals in Marathon and confirmed that a former Bungie artist included these in a texture sheet that was ultimately used in game. This issue was unknown by our existing art team, and we are still reviewing how this oversight occurred. We take matters like this very seriously. We've reached out to, that's the Twitter handle for N Squared, to discuss this issue and are committed to do right by the artist. As a matter of policy, we do not use the work or of artists without their permission. To prevent similar issues in the future, we are conducting a thorough review of our in game assets, specifically those done by former Bungie artists, and implementing stricter checks to document all artist contributions. We value the creativity and dedication of all artists who contribute to our games, and we are committed to doing right by them. Thank you for bringing this to our attention. And
You
so
know
then
what, Jim?
people,
This is actually a very gray one for me. For the very simple reason, do you remember in Drexel, before we did our senior design project, we had to sign a little thing that basically, if you came up with something, it would basically be put under Drexel as the owner of said, like basically copywriting something you if you
oh
develop
yeah,
something good enough. Like, I gotta feel like most companies are like, hey, if we're hiring you as an artist and you develop art for any given thing, and this guy first it made it sound like he was just like developing posters, but then they're like, yeah, you developed asset sheets for us. I wonder if it's one of those things, kind of like think like WWE, how like they own certain characters, right? Like, is this a simple case of maybe the guy didn't realize in his agreement, it's like, yo, if you develop something and it becomes part of the server, we can kind of use it however we want. Not saying it's right, and I know artists out there will get real mad, but I'm also like, that's kind of the way a lot of these things work. And it sounds a little bit like what might have actually happened here. Like he might have developed it, they didn't do anything with it, found it, used those asset sheets in this game, and I guess the fucked up part is not attributing it to him. But I
Well,
it doesn't sound like they straight up stole it from him.
here's the thing. So it's not like he was ever officially working for them in any way, though. Like it was just
Isn't that what
posters
they
and
said in the first thing?
no, they're saying that it was an artist who basically ripped him off, a former Bungie artist.
Existing unknown writers. So okay, so a former Bungie. I thought they were saying he was the former Bungie
No,
artist.
no, they're saying a former artist ripped him off.
So somebody. Okay, that's different then. But here's the deal, right? That changes my thought about okay, if this guy didn't do it, then that is really fucked. But do you think it was malicious by them? And listen, I'm not hating on anyone's art, but especially that first picture, it's two triangles inverted, right? Like not the craziest thing. And they probably whoever stole this guy's art, that's the fucked up part. Like he's the one, whoever that particular person is the one that should be to blame. Not like, do you think they can really cross reference everything that comes across if they hire an in-house Bungie artist and can't verify that?
I mean, as someone who has no idea about the process of game development, I don't know. So here's what I do know. It's not the first time that it's happened. So someone in the replies put up a tweet basically showing three other times that it happened. Basically three different times with Destiny 2, where there were three other artists and they used fan art of one person without in a trailer without credit. They used near identical fan art in a cutscene, and they copied design for Nerf replica in identical patterns. And I mean, I guess to Bungie's credit, they've apologized and credited the artist or tried to, contact and make compensation and credit after the fact of all these things happening. So, which appears to be what they're going to do with Antriel or however you say their name or Anti-Real. So, I mean, it's very possible that sometimes you just get too big and you have a couple bad eggs, and you're gonna. It's like any other company. You're gonna have some lazy people who are gonna take shortcuts, and
Yeah,
unfortunately, the one people who don't miss this is online artists because,
sure.
even especially nowadays in this age of AI, like they are on the back pedal of having their shit stolen left and right. So, I mean, I don't, obviously don't blame the guy for making a stink about it. Hope he gets,
Oh,
compensated
he
in some
should.
way.
Yeah,
Yeah. But, yeah, I mean, I guess if it happens this many times and now it's the second game that it's happened for another major title, it's like, Bungie, what are you doing here, Bungie? Like, you have to have something in
yeah.
place because you obviously didn't do it
They
before
need
now.
tighter QC on their shit. Obviously.
Yeah.
I guess like once again though, I go back to would it be
Right.
better if they just attribute it to him, or is it like the level of those things? Let's be honest, most people are gonna play that game, never even see it in the game, right? Like you're
Right.
gonna run by a spaceship that it's like, what do you give them? $300, like five, like it's not clearly attributable to say like this game, if it even becomes a success, was because of this art. You know, like it. That's a weird. And I'm not trying to downplay the dude's efforts. I'm saying like I really don't know what's a reasonable value for something like that. What if the game's a complete bomb? You know, I don't know.
Right. And like it's like his he even said it's background art. It's a space feller. So I mean, do you give him like, a penny for every unit sold or something like that? I don't know what appropriate compensation is for that. Like I guess you could make the thing that you're using the art for the world building, which I guess. But again, I don't know what's fair in this situation here.
In this case, I think the fairest thing is figure out your artist that you thought developed it. Figure out what you pay them regularly, and say, all right, that's a 40 hours worth of work at your rate. This is what like you would, literally just pay them like they were an employee and just say, all right, a typical artist is, I don't know, $40 an hour, 40 hours. There you go. Like, do it that way.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I mean, it's probably the same way. Like, yeah, just pay him like you would have paid any of your other artists, and be done with it at that point.
Yeah, just be better at QCing your own shit. But to your point, man, AI is gonna throw a monkey wrench in all of this shit.
Right. Do you almost should these companies be using AI to help the artists? Because you could probably take every piece of art you have, run it through some AI prompt, and say, "Is this original art?" And maybe Grok or ChatGPT will be like, "Oh, well, this is similar to this," or something like that, and then investigate it further from there.
Yeah, but then on the same hand, isn't the argument when you once you do that, that art is now part of AI, and you could say, well, now make AI make me art that's similar but not exactly like this.
It's true. I mean, it's a
So
double-edged
yeah,
sword. And another bad thing for Bungie's side is that multiple artists on the Bungie Marathon dev team followed Anti-Real. So that doesn't
that's
help.
that's bad. That's bad look. Like
Bad
like
look.
you said, it's also guys that were just fucking lazy, and they said, "Oh, I kind of like this," and here we are. So yeah, there's also there's also people who were like showing there's certain geometrical shapes. Like I said, those two chevrons he does, I can write that off. But like you said, the font was to me the more detrimental. Like, come on, dude, you stole you kept the fucking wording the same. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
So yeah, um, Bungie do better at your QC, and yeah, just pay that guy what you think it would have took to develop that. Whatever you paid that artist that submitted to you, pay them that and be done with it.
Yep.
I don't know.
I mean, man, what a fall from grace. A fall from grace from the Halo people, Brian. Well, former Halo people.
Yeah, but what are you gonna do, Chambers?
Well, Brian, what I'm
Can't
gonna
please
do.
everyone, or can you?
Uh, 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 That brings us to this week's Normie View. So, this is a little bit of old news, but I thought it'd be a fun topic. So, back in February is when there is a what do you call it? Blah 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 blah. For Record Store Day. So it's like there's Comic Book Store Day where the like comic book stores will have exclusive variant covers and or give out free things for free. Record companies and stores do the same thing. So Post Malone, apparently during COVID, he did a Nirvana cover thing back in 2020, and to follow up on that, he decided to release an album of Nirvana covers, some recorded with Travis Barker on vinyl for Record Store Day, and it got some pretty decent feedback. I think like it's not one I heard a ton about as far as reviews go, but it wasn't like some colossal thing that everyone hated. What I did see everyone hating, at least when it was fresh on the timeline, was when he was a part of Saturday Night Live 50 because they brought back a ton of musical acts to perform. So Post Malone went on stage with Dave Grohl, Kirsten Novoselic, and Pat Smear, the remaining original Nirvana members, and they played "Smells Like Teen Spirit." And I remember like the link I have below, it's like one I found easy, so I just posted it here. It's pretty supportive. But there were
Yeah.
so many goddamn threads of people just being like completely pissed off, saying this is a disgrace to Kurt Cobain's legacy, Post Malone's just a culture vulture, and just all his vitriol. It was about like a 3-day span where everyone was just talking on his performance and hating it. So, and as the guys here, right, it's our job to break away from the gaming and talk about what the people are talking about. At least 3 months ago. I'm good at this.
I mean, it's an interesting topic because right off the bat, I don't think Post Malone is the one you like. If you're a diehard fan of Nirvana and you feel like Kurt Cobain's memory is being tarnished, should you be more mad at the rest of the band that actually played with him who agreed to do it versus the guy that, in all reality, Post Malone was probably and legitimately a huge fan of him, and like to emulate and try and copy him is probably like a dream. Like, it's not uncommon for any insert any band name, and they probably do, like, if you go to their live shows, they do covers of songs they really like from other
Yeah,
bands. That's very, very common. Um, I, put your feelings aside of Post Malone, the dude, like, he makes catchy songs. He makes some good songs, some songs you might hate. I don't mind them. And when I've seen him in interviews, like, other than he kind of sounds stupid, he actually seems like he's probably not the worst dude in the world. So I didn't see him trying to half-ass that performance. I don't think he has the vocal capabilities to meet like Kurt Cobain, obviously, but I don't think he was phoning it in. I feel like he was legit trying to mimic Kurt's voice, but without doing it like in a parody. Like, he was still his voice, but he didn't try to do a twist on it, which I'm always weird when you do a cover. Like, are you really trying to just mimic, or are you trying to give your little twist on it? So I think he was trying to keep it true to form, and it was just a dude up there who got an opportunity to do this 50th anniversary. Um, so I'm okay with it. I don't necessarily think the performance was great, but I think the intent was fine. Anyone getting mad, like I said, I would be more mad at the rest of the band. Like, why are you playing with this guy if it's for a memory of Kurt Cobain, versus being mad at Post Malone, who, even though Dave Grohl's there, like, Post Malone's the biggest name on that stage at that point.
yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. Like, I get he's an easy target to hate, but it's probably wrong if you're saying it's because it's disrespecting Kurt Cobain.
Yeah. So like as the guy in a band and shit like that, and like Nirvana was like my first favorite band because they were my brother's favorite band. He's 11 years older. You always want to, emulate your older brother or shit like that. So I grew up with Nirvana. I saw this clip and I went, yeah, it's fine. Like I wasn't pissed off about it. I was, and like to your point about like if you're gonna be mad at the members, it's like, dude, you're talking about a bunch of guys in their mid 50s, and they're like, oh, this is a cool reason to get the band back together. We've like barely done this since Kurt killed himself, so you know, it was a little bit of a treat for them. Why not? And
Hmm.
like, yeah, like you said, just people hate on Post Malone. Like the hip hop community hates him ever since he did his country album. The rock community's saying that he's just being a culture vulture again and shit like that. And to me, I was just like, I don't know, it was a decent enough cover. And it's like, it's the old jaded side of me that like I kind of get annoyed when people like really, really romanticize their like favorite musicians or like the legacy of an artist and shit like that. It's like, oh, he's lacking the like the torture and the soul in his voice that he'd be doing when he's on stage. It's like, yeah, but Kurt Cobain was a depressed junkie who hated his fans and his fame. Like, he wasn't happy as he was doing it. He did it because he loved doing music, but he hated everything else about it. So, I mean, he wasn't a happy guy. Like, he's pouring his soul out there, sure, but he's not enjoying anything as he's doing it. And, like, Nirvana wasn't known for their expertly crafted, amazing live shows. Like, I like to go back and watch live Nirvana, but outside of, like, Unplugged and, like, that's a great performance, a lot of their tours, they don't sound that great. It's pretty muddy and messy, and I get it. That's the point. It's what Nirvana was, but when you look at all the grunge greats, even like Pearl Jam or Soundgarden or Alice in Chains, and would put on way better shows. And what do you call it? Lane Staley was just as fucking cracked out on heroin as Kurt Cobain was, and he still belted out the lyrics. So it's like, can we stop trying to say that Nirvana was this amazing live act and Post Malone shitting on the on that legacy? Like, if you're just talking about the straight up performance, it's like it's probably what you would have basically seen.
Yeah.
So
Well,
I think it was fine.
yeah. I truly, my guess is if you get hate for them, it's dudes that are probably thinking it's too poppy because it's Post Malone. Like, they probably, honestly, they probably didn't even listen to the whole thing. As soon as they saw Post Malone Nirvana, they were angry and typing before they even hit play. So I get it. Like I said, people can get upset when you see someone copying your favorite band and you think they're doing them a disservice. It's like, once again, if he came up there and was like fucking around or like try to take a twist on it, I'd get it a little more. But this was laying it straight. So I take it as a fan who was emulating probably one of his idols. And I don't know if that's true, but I just assume, given his age range, he's probably like most people, where he's like, "Yep, love Kurt Cobain," and here we are. So
Yeah. And at least it isn't Puddle of Mud doing About a Girl. So there's a bar. The bar has been set for the low end. All right. It was way better than that.
yeah, but you know what? Here's the other thing. I also had a problem. See, I was someone initially. I was annoyed by Post Malone back when he did that song with Ozzy, and I forget what award thing they were at, but like most of the internet's like, oh man, whoever this old guy is should be lucky he's up there with Post Malone. So
Oh,
like
God.
there was that shit where, and that's not Post Malone's fault. That's the fan base behind him. Just like if you read the comments on this particular one, everyone's like, this is so fire, better than the original. Like that's where I'm like, all right, you took it too. Like the fan
Yeah.
base is the annoying part. It's not him himself. Like I'm sure if you asked him, he'd be like, oh no, I'm not even close to him. Like he'd be way more humble about it than people want to give him credit for. So you can hate the fan base of something, but yeah, there was nothing really that bad with that performance. It's like
Yep.
get off it.
Yeah, I think it was just a lot of performative quote tweeting for the likes and the updates. Because, I mean, it's an easy target. It's fine. So, but yeah, but also, shut the fuck up.
Jim, here's a question. Is our generation, you think, the last with the, and I could be wrong, but I feel like when I speak to younger generations, the uber snobbiness of music taste, of game taste, of all this, I think is going by the wayside. I think that's ending, if not our generation, the one directly below. Because I can say younger generations, they kind of like everything. They're not as niche. They're not as in their corners of like, oh well, if you like this, you're clearly not a big fan. Like fucking rock dorks. Like they have their subsets. Like, oh, you listen to that? That's not real metal. This is metal. Like all that dumb shit. I feel like is going away more and more as everyone is starting to listen to everything and everything's getting mixed for better or for worse.
Yeah, I mean, gaming wise, there's still a very strong and weird console war that goes on between Xbox and PlayStation people. So that really hasn't gone away. But yeah, I
And I
don't
feel like
follow.
that's still like people our age, our generation or the generation right below us. Cause like
Nah, there's younger
younger
kids too.
kids, hmm, I don't
I
know.
mean, yeah, if you want to see like that's still bad. Like as always, the depths of true snobbery and autism with the niche will be wrestling fans. So if you want to find that that rabbit hole, you can go down that. Good luck. But to your point with music, yeah, I mean maybe it's just because I'm not following the music scene on the social media that much. But to your point, yeah, I don't really see that kind of vitriol that it was back then.
It doesn't seem as strong as my point. Like I feel like kids are more like, oh, I'm actually just, you know what it is? Maybe they're just not as like zoned in on one thing. I think because there's so much available, where I think with our generation it was more limited, just like movies and like shows. Like you had the four shows on HBO or this or that or this network. Now there's so many fucking shows. It's like, yeah, no one has time to be locked in to be like, this is the one greatest. They're like, no, just show me the next best shit. So I think that's just the availability of the products out there. I don't know.
Yeah, I know. I mean, like our generation, it's all about quoting The Simpsons, and for this kids these days, it's Skibbity Toilet. So
Yeah.
I'm
And even
just an
that
old
goes
man
away
now.
after a few months. Yeah. It goes away and then it's, oh, it's this thing, this thing. It's like, yeah,
Yeah, you know
the
what?
long,
I don't think anyone has enough of an attention span to care that much about anything anymore.
that's my point. Yeah. They can't be locked in that hard to anything. They're like, just like YouTube videos. Like, I mean, early viral YouTube videos lasted years. And now it's like they last days, if not hours. You're like, oh, this gets shared to shit or it becomes a meme. And then everyone's tired of it in 2 days. And you're like, oh, yeah, remember that thing? Oh, yeah. Then it's on to the next.
Yeah, yeah, it's weird.
Yeah. I don't know if it's better or worse, Jim. It's just different.
Right, we're all melding together. Soon we will be Marklars.
Damn it, Jim. Don't you mark me. So, Chambers, how'd that beer treat you?
You know what? It's a very tasty one. I think after having like, I had one of these in my neighbors and a couple Coors Lights, and then going back to this, it's like I'm kind of good. My stomach's just in that mode where it's like I don't really need much more of this. But
Hmm.
if I was just starting the day with it, it would be a good one to have like you'd sip on two or three through the course of like a summer afternoon. That would be like the perfect thing for this. It's very flavorful. It's got a lot of mouthfeel, barely any aftertaste. You get a little bit of that cherry tartness to it. Extremely smooth and drinkable. So the 7%, it'll probably get you feeling good if you have enough of them. So for a sour beer, it's definitely recommended.
Nice. Yeah, and once again, perfect summer beer. Um, I haven't tried the lemon or watermelon, but the mango, dude, that is, it's still delicious. Um, it's and actually, I don't even know if I mentioned it's only 5%, so it's extremely light. So, highly recommend it. Rita's is nationwide, right?
I think
If not, if you don't know what Rita's is, sorry, you live where you live. But if you can find this beer, definitely try it out. Really worthwhile. And with that, guys, we want to say thank you all so much for listening and watching. If you're watching on YouTube, hit the notification bell, hit the subscription button, and comment on our videos. Let us know what you liked and didn't like. And if you're listening on iTunes, Podbean, Spotify, make sure you hit the subscription button. And if you give us a 5-star rating, we'll read each and every one of your comments on these Power Hour podcasts. With that, we want to say have a good night, everyone, and cheers.
cheers, everybody.